The Justice Department has come out swinging against corporate espionage, accusing 5 Chinese military officials of cyber spying on 6 American companies. The indictments announced today include 31 counts of economic espionage, theft of trade secrets, and aggravated identity theft. The targeted companies are Westinghouse, Alcoa, U.S. Steel, SolarWorld, Allegheny Technologies, and the United Steelworkers Union. At a press event today, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder said international business success should not be based on a government's ability to spy and steal business secrets, and that violators will be prosecuted.
This administration will not tolerate actions by any nation that seeks to illegally sabotage American companies and undermine the integrity of fair competition in the operation of the free market.
In response, China denies the charges, calling them ungrounded and absurd, and adds that the indictments will only harm U.S.-China relations. Scott Cohn has been following today's cyber spying charges, and he joins us now. Scott, this all sounds great, but these guys are in China.
Right, they are.
They're not going to come here and subject themselves to the U.S. legal process. So what's the point of the indictment?
The point is largely symbolic, but it's more than that because they've laid out what the U.S. knows now. They've basically put the Chinese on notice, experts are telling us. And while it could send the Chinese further underground, the idea is to basically call them out, to say, here's what we've got. We know what you're doing. Now stop it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the industries that they targeted. So it's Alcoa, Westinghouse, what was the other one? U.S. Steel. I mean, why are they going after these steel and also some nuclear power companies?
Well, these are areas where the Chinese have been trying to gain a competitive advantage, and in some cases, according to this indictment, they did just that by basically finding out what the U.S. companies were up to. It was either U.S. companies that were pursuing unfair trade allegations against the Chinese, or we're working on joint ventures with the Chinese. And in the case of the United Steelworkers, they were in the process of ramping up their campaign, sort of their PR campaign against the Chinese for unfair trade practices. Basically, it gave the Chinese, allegedly, a window into what all these people were doing so that they could gain back the advantage.
Several of these companies, with the exception of the solar company, Pittsburgh area companies, right. Is that coincidence, or is that because there was a particularly active investigator working in that office?
Well, that's part of it, but it's also because the steel industry is there, and one of the issues that China has had in aggressively competing against the U.S. on steel is that China doesn't compete well on cost, apparently, according to analysts that we've spoken to, unless it can find out basically the other side's hand, see what the U.S. companies are doing.
Sophisticated operation?
Well, sophisticated in that allegedly it was the Chinese military, but the way that they were getting in is decidedly unsophisticated, what they call spear phishing. That's where they send an email that looks like it's legit, but it has a link or an attachment. The unsuspecting party clicks on that, that installs malware on their computer, and the Chinese are in.
All right, Scott Cohn, thank you very much.